The river did not want just any bride. Tonight, it wanted Naya. The river began to roar. The calm water that once carried Naya across the night was now twisting and rising like something alive. The bride stepped back in fear. Some covered their mouths. Others refused to even look, because they already knew what was coming. The river spirit had awakened. The elder bride's voice trembled as she spoke again. Long ago, before Aroka village was built, something ancient lived inside this river. It demanded offerings, lives. And when the sacrifices stopped, the spirit rose from the water and destroyed everything in its path. So the chiefs made a terrible agreement. One bride, every full moon. The water suddenly exploded upward. A massive shadow rose beneath the surface. Bigger than any canoe. Bigger than the huts in Aroka village. The bride screamed and ran backward. Because for the first time in many years, the spirit had come closer to the surface than ever before. But something strange happened next. The river suddenly became quiet again. The massive shadow beneath the water stopped moving. And slowly, the glowing ripples began to drift toward one person. Naya. The elder bride whispered in horror. The spirit was not angry. It was choosing. The elder bride gasped. In all the years of sacrifices, the river had never chosen its own bride. Until now. And as the water touched Naya's feet, the river began to glow. The glowing water wrapped gently around Naya's feet. The brides watched in silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Because something impossible was happening. The river spirit was not attacking her. It was welcoming her. The elder bride suddenly gasped. Her eyes widened with recognition. She had seen something like this before. Many years ago. On the night Naya was born. That same river had glowed exactly the same way. The elder bride whispered the truth. On the night Naya was born, the river flooded the village. The water reached the doors of every hut. And when the flood finally stopped, Naya was found sleeping peacefully beside the riverbank. No one ever understood how she got there. The elder bride's voice trembled. The chief knew this story. He had always known. Which meant something far more terrifying was true. Naya had not been chosen for sacrifice. She had been raised for it. And suddenly, the drums stopped. The forest became silent. Footsteps echoed behind the brides. Someone had finally crossed the river. And when Naya turned around, Chief Adekoya was standing there. The chief was never feeding the river spirit. He was hiding the truth from the village. The brides froze as Chief Adekoya stepped into the torchlight. The warriors behind him carried spears and burning torches. The forest grew silent. Even the river seemed to pause. And when the chief's eyes landed on Naya, he smiled. As if this moment had been waiting for years. The chief raised his hand. His warriors stopped moving. Then he spoke calmly. The brides were never sacrifices. They were prisoners. Hidden here so the village would believe the river had taken them. Because fear keeps people obedient. The chief turned toward the river. The glowing water reflected in his eyes. For many years, the chiefs of Aroka had protected the village from the spirit. But the spirit had begun demanding something different. Not just a life. It wanted someone born from the river itself. The chief finally looked back at her. And his voice dropped to a whisper. Naya, you were never meant to escape this night. From the moment the river returned you to the village as a baby, you belonged to it. The river suddenly surged again. The glowing water began rising toward the shore. The spirit had heard everything. And this time, it was coming out of the water. Will Naya face the river spirit? Watch out for part 8, final part. The river spirit finally came out. And it did not want to destroy the village. The river exploded into towering waves. Water crashed against the shore as the glowing surface split apart. Slowly, something enormous rose from beneath the water. A creature older than the village itself. The river spirit had finally come out. The spirit turned its glowing eyes toward Naya. Its voice echoed like thunder across the water. For generations, the chiefs had fed the river with fear. But the spirit had never asked for sacrifices. It had only asked for one thing. A guardian. The brides gasped. The truth finally shattered the silence. The chiefs of Aroka had lied for generations. They had sacrificed brides not to protect the village, but to keep their power. Fear had ruled the village longer than the river itself. The spirit's glowing eyes softened. The river had chosen Naya for one reason. She was born from its waters. She could become the guardian of the river and protect the village forever. But doing so meant leaving the world of humans behind. Naya stepped forward. The glowing water rose to meet her. The river spirit bowed its head. And as the moonlight covered the forest, Naya disappeared into the shining river. From that night onward, Aroka village would never fear the river again. Thank you for watching the Bride Price of Blood series. Subscribe to Story Bloom for more interesting stories.